Hi, welcome to the Take 5 podcast, the show that helps strengthen firefighters in protecting those relationships that matter most. I'm your host, Lee Sullivan, licensed mental health counselor and certified emotionally focused therapist. I'm so glad you're here today. In today's episode, we're going to break down the 3 most common ways that conversations go wrong or go sideways. So when you're on scene, there's this great chain of command that provides a structure, an efficient and organized communication structure. It allows communication to be efficiently given from the incident command all the way down to the lowest ranking personnel. And when it goes sideways on scene, as soon as you hop in the rig, when you're done, on the way back to the firehouse, you're already troubleshooting, how could we do this better? So you have already a process in place for improving communication on scene. Inside the walls of a firehouse, communication is often quite different. It often goes sideways inside the fire station. And so it's helpful to break down what is happening so that we can improve it. Today's material is taken from Dr. Sue Johnson's work. She is the founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, and she has done a lot of research on communication, how it goes wrong, and how to improve it. And she has some great tools for us to use today. Her information will be listed in the notes for today's podcast. So when we risk with someone to try to communicate and have connection or reach for understanding from them, we are looking for 3 responses from our listener. We're looking for accessibility, we're looking for responsiveness from them, and we're also looking for engagement. And if any one of these 3 responses are missing, then we tend to use negative strategies or protective responses. And so we really need all 3 to be in place in order for us to feel safe to emotionally engage. There's 3 specific conversations that go sideways where both the speaker and the listener are using protective responses. The first one is called Find the Bad Guy. And this is where there's a lot of black and white thinking, right and wrong, a lot of anger is being used. Both people oftentimes feel trapped in the conversation. Both people are talking about content. The whole conversation is about content. You said this. No, you didn't quite say this. You actually meant this. It's all content. No one is talking about what they're feeling or their emotional experience. Both people tend to be at arm's length from one another. So in a cycle, it looks like this. The more you attack, the more dangerous you appear to me. And the more dangerous you appear, the more I'm going to watch my back. And the more I watch my back, I'm going to come out swinging harder. And the more I come out swinging harder, hitting back harder, the more dangerous I appear to you. And the more you're going to watch your back and you're going to come out hitting harder as well. So it's this mutual blame game that people get wrapped up in. We call it Find the Bad Guy. And it's an absolute dead end for communication. There's no winners in Find the Bad Guy. It's such a lose-lose conversation. The second conversation is freeze and flee. And this is where both people are putting their emotions on the back burner. they're doing that to avoid getting hurt and feeling despair and hopelessness. And so you'll see a lot of numbness, a lot of distance in the communication. There's mutual withdrawal from both people. The cycle tends to look like this. The more I hold back and shut down, the more careful and distant you become. And the more careful and distant you become, the more I sort of emotionally check out to kind of chill out and calm things down. It's withdraw. Again, this is absolutely a lose-lose conversation. Nobody's winning in freeze and flee. The third conversation style is the protest polka. This is, I would say, very common, if not the most common form of communication that goes wrong. This is, if you think of a protest as in protesting to try to elicit a response. They're protesting this feeling of disconnection between two people. And so in the cycle, it looks like this. The more I pursue you through complaining, demanding, instructing, or sending a critical message, the more dangerous I appear to you. And the more dangerous I appear to you, the more you're going to move away and create some distance between us. And you might do that by shutting down, withdrawing, defending, or dismissing me. And the more you do this, the more uncaring and inaccessible you appear to me. And so I'm going to protest harder to try to break through to you. So it's really where one person is sort of withdrawing and the other person is trying to chase after them. There's only one solution for remedying all of these communication styles, and that is safe emotional engagement. I want us to do an exercise here. When you feel a difficult or a hard or hot emotion, what do you do with that? What is your action response to that? And then when others take an action, what message do you hear about yourself? It's going to be something about your meaning or your value. And then you feel something based on that. And then what do you do with that feeling? So an example of this is when you feel judged, you might get quiet. You might withdraw to kind of cool things off. When others criticize you, you might hear a message or take in a message that says you're not good enough. And then that might cause you to feel unimportant. And when you feel unimportant, you might act by trying to control other people. What is your process? What is your process between your feeling and your action? What is your process when there's an action of others? You take in an internal message resulting in a feeling, and then you act and respond to that. Reorganizing your emotional experience helps you in the moment that it hits. When you know what's happening for you in the moment, it starts to quiet the danger signals in your brain, creating a sense of calmness. It helps you to think more clearly, which allows you to articulate more clearly. Then you have the best chance of being heard and understood by others. There's no need for a protective response as long as we understand ourselves, understand our process, and are able to articulate that in an emotionally engaging way. Thank you for joining me today as we learn how conversations go wrong and how we can improve on them. Please visit my website, elpiscounseling.com, for a list of references used in today's episode. Remember, what we see, we can change one feeling, one message, one conversation at a time. Thank you for joining me as we learn to tap into our emotion signals to protect and preserve those relationships that matter most. Be safe and be well.